Start allowing players to step in and make decisions. Who runs them? Who coaches them? And all these kinds of things. If you want to make all the decisions as an owner, then buy your own team. Ooh, Acho. Is Deshaun Watson deserving of criticism?
Nah, big dog, he's not. Because sometimes you look and you say, well, everybody can earn or deserve some criticism. But Deshaun Watson ain't done nothing. Like, genuinely speaking, Deshaun Watson hasn't done anything. What did he get criticized for first? Deshaun Watson, you get paid to play quarterback, play quarterback. Okay, he did that at a top 3, worst case, a top 5 level. What did he get criticized for then? Deshaun Watson, you want to have a say in the organization, but that's not really your role. Well, after fully completing his first role, now he wants to have a say in the organization. I don't see an issue with that. Okay, how about further? Deshaun, you're being too disruptive. How? By removing the Texans from his bio or removing the Texans from his profile on Twitter and Instagram? That's not disruptive. He's just omitting. He's being quiet. Deshaun Watson, well, you're not saying anything at all. Okay, so now we mad at Deshaun Watson for not speaking? Like, I understand.
Right.
I understand criticizing a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger, contemplating retirement. Are you in or are you out? Like, do you want to play football or do you not? I can understand criticizing Aaron Rodgers after they drafted Jordan Love and he said, you know, I was upset, I started drinking X, Y, and Z. I can understand criticizing Carson Wentz. He did not talk to the media on exit interview days on after the last game the Eagles played this year. I get all that. But Deshaun Watson, this criticism, Marcellus, it genuinely doesn't make sense to me. Y'all pay him to play quarterback. He's played quarterback at the highest level, and he's trying to take it a step further by trying to help management as well.
Okay, I disagree with that because I'm going to start high and then hopefully narrow the focus to bring it down to this exact situation. Yes, he's deserving of criticism for his decision to want a trade, just like I will be deserving of criticism for this take on his decision to make a request for a trade. Everyone deserves criticism because what is criticism again? The cost of praise. And as last time I checked, Acho, when you're in the public eye especially, that's the nature of the beast. Someone's going to agree with what you're saying and someone's going to disagree with what you're saying. So no one's above reproach in any of these conversations, any of these decisions. What's interesting about this one, though, is because this one immediately, you step in the pool, you just try to put your toe in the water to see if it's cold, and immediately you're in the deep end. Because this conversation really entangles so many other issues.
Not an entanglement. Not an entanglement.
Other quarterbacks in the same situation, it doesn't go as deep. It doesn't have as many layers for some obvious reasons and for some not so obvious reasons. Let's talk about this because I finally figured out the million-dollar question, why everyone seems divided or different on this conversation. What's the accepted threshold for someone to demand a trade? All we're doing is trying to figure that out. And then we're trying to figure it out based on race, based on power, based on performance. We're trying to figure that out. So when we see an Eli Manning's like, don't even want to go there. That's like requesting a trade before you even get picked. But it came with criticism. The Eli Mannings of the world, the Manning family got criticized. And then you get to a situation with Matthew Stafford, and it almost seemed like it's under the radar, like whatever.
Correct.
So you can go all the way from a royal family getting criticized to a great player, but not necessarily a great team, and no one cares. And then there's Deshaun Watson in there. Here's my thing about this situation, just watching it all unfold. There are 3 sides to every story. So it's what Deshaun Watson feels, it's what the Houston Texans feel.
And the truth.
And then there's something in between called the truth. And what happened in this situation, from my vantage point, is the process wasn't fully utilized by both sides. It seems like the Houston Texans had made promises to Deshaun Watson that they didn't keep. It seems like Deshaun Watson committed to a team that he knew didn't always live up to their promises, but was believing in them changing their ways going forward. Here's a problem with committing to something that you don't have enough evidence in the positive way for you to commit to. Would you ever walk down the aisle with someone who lies and cheats?
No, sir.
No, sir. You know why? Because you got enough evidence to say, well, I don't think they're going to do this. So Deshaun Watson in this situation committed to something that he nearly didn't have full belief in. He went into a situation with half trust. Have you ever been in a situation with half trust? I have. When you walk into a situation with half trust, all you're really telling yourself and what you're guilty of is saying the next time, and then the next time occurs. Jack Easterby hires his friend And he hires his friend from the former organization, New England, and that's Nick Caserio. And Deshaun Watson allegedly doesn't have any problem with that. But there is a problem because he was already at his wit's end. He was already at that place where he was saying, one more time, one more lie. And he was sitting on rocks, as my grandma would say. And when you're sitting on rocks, you don't feel comfortable, no matter who you are, no matter if you're a franchise quarterback. So Deshaun Watson, trying to turn the other cheek, trying to just sit there and be the good cop all the time, was really already at his wit's end. And then this situation occurs. So I see all parties as guilty, therefore all parties deserving criticism.
But you have to look at criticism, Sel, because there's a difference between disagreement and criticism.
Oh, certainly,
right?
Different
like,
words.
I can disagree with what someone says without criticizing it. Criticism means I perceive a fault or a mistake.
I do
and where
perceive
I'm
a
jumping
fault.
in is I don't see the fault. What is the fault? You said play quarterback. He played quarterback. What is the fault? He ain't spoke out against the organization. What is the fault? He ain't out here cussing. What is the fault? He's not out here avoiding questions when he's supposed to be asked at media time. What is the fault? He's not contemplating retirement. What is the fault? He didn't go out there like James Harden and say, I just think it's irreparable. I think the damage is beyond fixing at this point. What is the fault? That is my issue. I don't have a problem with somebody who agrees with your take, disagrees with your take, disagrees with my take.
Okay.
But the problem isn't that they're disagreeing with Deshaun Watson's decision. They're criticizing the decision based on a fault or a mistake that is non-existent.
Well, it is existent. This is why. From my vantage point, from others' vantage points that is criticizing what Deshaun Watson is doing, the first criticism comes, why do you want to trade? But when you break off communication with the franchise because they have lied to you, when you break off communication with the outer world in terms of direct conversation, then everyone's left to guesswork. Now, I'm not saying it's always accurate, but who commits to an organization that they think has lied to them in the past or is dysfunctional? And then you commit to that dysfunction, but now, because of this last move, that's it. People will criticize that because why commit? Now, I understand, dog. I played the game. I got to get that bag, bruh. I got to get this money. I have ACL already. I've been hurt before. I could get hurt again. All this can go away. So I get it. But in a world where you commit to a situation you really don't feel, but you did it for the money, they got a term for that. And people will call that term out. And I don't want to do it because I love this guy, Deshaun Watson, in character. I love him in reputation. But I know when you sign on a line and commit, you got to come back to that same position and place with a mind that's anew, that is refreshed. He wasn't. He was on thin ice with this organization, committed to him. They did one more thing. He said it's a wrap because of everything else they did. They are not above reproach. They lied to Deshaun Watson several times. It's pretty obvious. They even leaked the information that he wanted to trade almost 2 weeks later just so it can look better to cover themselves. I get it. But do the Houston Texans deserve criticism? Does Deshaun Watson deserve criticism? And that's the only place I'm starting from.
Marcellus, I got to answer that question.
Okay,
that's the question everybody asks. Why commit? Why would Deshaun Watson commit to the Texans just to dip out, want to dip out several months later?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson would commit to the Texans for the same reason or to answer the question in Dick Vermeil's last sentence. What did Vermeil say?
What did he say?
What did Vermeil say? Can we pull up that last little quote, that last little quotable? Yes. Because Dick Vermeil says, if you want to make all the decisions as an owner, then buy your own team. I hate ignorance like this, Sal, and I've been saving my passion for this. Hey, Dick Vermeil, Deshaun Watson can't buy his own team. And why can't Deshaun Watson buy his own team? Because Deshaun Watson ain't got generational money to buy his own team, to make these kinds of decisions. Cal McNair, who's currently running the team. How your daddy get the team, Cal? Your daddy got the team because he got a proper education, graduated from South Carolina in 1959, Cal. You want to know who couldn't go to South Carolina in 1959, Cal? People that look like Deshaun Watson, Cal McNair. You want to know who can't be an owner? Somebody that looks like Deshaun Watson right now, because on average, Marcellus, the owners are 68, and on average, the owners are white. So why did Deshaun Watson commit to the Houston Texans? So he could get that bag, but not get that bag flippantly as some sort of young, naive kid, but to get that bag so he could try to one day maybe buy his own team. So that's what I'm so passionate when I see ignorance like this being spewed. Because you hating on Deshaun Watson for what? And you telling him to go buy his own team? He can't buy his own team. Dick Vermeil, you could. Based on fitting into the criteria and the category of someone who can buy a team because of the average age.
How?
Because of the average age and the current description.
That's not the first criteria, your age.
No. I'm saying, I'm saying you're looking at the current criteria of what the owners look like. Deshaun Watson don't fit that bill. So that's where I get passionate and it's like, don't come out here spewing nonsense, Marcellus Wiley. Like, not you, Dick Vermeil.
No.
You feel me? Like, don't come out here like Dick Vermeil talking about, hey, if you want to make the decisions as an owner, buy your own team. Do some research, bro.
Well,
I
think he did research, and he did the research in his own experience. I'm not sticking up for Dick Vermeil in this situation, but I do know Dick Vermeil, being a former coach, has walked upstairs before and say, I need this player, I need this, I need this. And somebody said, if you want to do all that, why don't you buy your own team? And that's how it hits you hard in the face, no matter what color you are, because everybody who has a boss got to conform to something. So it's not racial to me in that situation. Dick Vermeil just...
ignorant, though.
He just lived through post-traumatic stress because he just went through probably a situation where somebody told him, hey, when you own this, you can do that. But until then, stay in your place, older white man, whatever it may be. Here's the thing, what you said, before I get back to my point, since you want to talk about it. NFL established, not even called the NFL 1920. What I think people need to understand as a player and even as a black man.
Talk about it.
First billionaire in this country on record, 1916, John Rockefeller. Okay. Is he black? No. Okay. First billionaire in this country as a black man is what? Bob Johnson, 2001. Marcellus Wiley. Boy, if you change that B to an M, maybe. I'm not kidding. I got that. 2001.
Yes, sir.
Y'all see those 85 years of difference as you brought up the age and criteria for ownership. To get into that conversation, first thing they're going to ask you is, you got the money? Because teams are still being sold, correct? They're going to ask you have the money. Black people, we have an 85-year gap to close, and we are closing it at minimum. Now, be real about this.
Let's go there.
In the relay, when you get the baton, and you look, and you are 85 meters behind, you got two questions to answer. One is, how far behind am I? Damn, 85? And then the second one is, how am I going to catch up?
That's a fact.
Okay.
That's a fact.
I would love the conversation to shift from, man, we so far behind, to catch up. I've been to track meets. You've been to track meets before.
All day.
85 ain't a death sentence. It's damning. But I've seen Quincy Watts. I've seen Obi Moore. I've seen others close that gap. And I'm being figurative right now in a literal sense.
Of course.
Let's talk about what's really happening. Why I think
you gonna leave here? Because you on something.
Oh, no, no.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm on some fire right now. You on some fire. I need some of these ribs because them good fall off the bone ribs. When you bring up such a great point, which is why when people are mad at Deshaun Watson for committing, like, Deshaun, you committed. How you going to leave now? I've talked to Deshaun's agent. You've talked to Deshaun's agent. That's my dog.
I did.
What happened to Dak Prescott this year? He got hurt. Well, he still got his bread, hopefully by the grace of God. But what we know is this. He got hurt. What happened to Deshaun Watson this year? He got paid. You feel me? Like, Deshaun got paid this year. So when you're talking about that figurative baton, because, alert, football for athletes is more than that. What did Deshaun Watson do when he got that contract? He was crying. Why was he crying? Because his mom had to move out of community group housing because Warwick Dunn moved them into housing based on different housing programs.
What a story.
So while Deshaun Watson's mom is trying to own a house, Cal McNair's dad is trying to own a team. Like, we're not talking about the same thing, big dog. So I'm not mad at Deshaun for prematurely signing a contract, if you will, because he's fighting different battles. Like, if he's getting that baton cell, and it's the second leg, right? And if y'all don't like track, I'm sorry. Go watch some racing. If you getting that baton and it's the second leg, you know you can't make it all up. But what you want to do, hand the baton off to the next person a little bit closer. So Deshaun Watson, if he can sign that $156 million deal, what's he going to do? He going to hand it off to his kids a little bit closer than how he got it from his mom and them. Yes. And that's why I'm not mad at the dog.
Yeah, but it's not just if he's going to get closer to where he wants to go in terms of what he envisions and closing that gap. It's how. And that's where the criticism is coming. How did you run that? Did you step on the line? Did you cross your lane? Did you undercut yourself? Because Deshaun Watson is almost guilty of being too good a guy. He's guilty. Let me tell you how. And, you know, I've been in this situation before, but I had to kind of grow into more of a selfish mindset. I used to be selfless, and now I'm selfish. But there's no difference. You know what the difference is? Self is the common denominator. I started to say everything I put myself into, I have to say, what does Marcellus want from that first? I know I went third person. Here's the thing. Deshaun Watson, war can't be avoided, just postponed. He had a war moment when he was signing, and he knew he was sitting on dysfunction. He knew he was surrounded with dysfunction. But he signed on because he believed in himself and he believed in his goodness and how that would spread. And he believed in his abilities. But the problem is when you're guilty of not feeling something, you're going to do something like this to the extreme. Deshaun Watson went from that moment to they did something else he didn't like. And he was like, you know what? That's enough. You know why this was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Why?
Because he had so many other straws on his back. One straw ain't that much. But when Deshaun walked into the situation committed, that camel was already like, yo, DeAndre Hopkins. Yo, we got a bad GM. Yo, they said that going forward it's going to be better. And he believed in that. But then when he saw there was no sign of hope, he said, all bets are off.
Let me ask you this.
But you committed to all bets are off.
Let me ask you this, because I've never thought about this until now. Then why don't you think Stafford got the same amount of criticism? From what we've heard, Stafford was in Cabo with McVay.
Yeah.
They were sipping on some pina coladas, eating some chips and queso with some guac on the side. And Stafford gone to L.A., and we've just been like, oh, my God, great for Matthew Stafford. He needed that escape after 12 years.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, we hope for the best for him.
Yeah.
But Deshaun, we all got an opinion. For whatever reason, everybody, Brett Favre, the Dick Vermeils of the world, they all got these opinions on what Deshaun Watson doing. But where was all that noise for Stafford? Or is it just that Deshaun Watson's so much better than Stafford?
You know, I keep it 1,000. One thing I learned from boxing promotion is the best one is to have an American versus an international fighter. One thing to have a black, it used to be black versus white. Just make them rich. Part of it is a racial optic in terms of how you perceive it differently. But
What you mean by that?
mean by that is this. Why we are seeing reaction greater because race is involved. There is a clash of races. There's a Nick Caserio, right? There's a Cal McNair. And then there's a Deshaun Watson. With a Matthew Stafford, you don't see that opposition even in optics. That's part of it. I'm going past that point because boxing has evolved past that point. But I had to bring you that as foundation. What's the difference is Matthew Stafford didn't just sign in September. And Deshaun Watson almost signed up for dysfunction with clear eyes view. Like he knew it and he still signed to it. So people are kind of perplexed. Why you sign on, big dog? And we all understand why he signed on.
Right.
I think he's guilty of this. This is something that I like to bring levity. I know a lot of people think this is so deep and so heavy. It is, but it ain't. Because it ain't going to change your world. It's going to change Deshaun Watson's and Cal McNair's world. Let's just be real about that. He's guilty of what my wife does. I'm sitting there watching TV. And then my wife gets up, has to do something, and she crosses the TV. Now, who hasn't been here before? Can she like duck or can she go around? Did it again. Now, I ain't saying nothing because I'm Deshaun Watson. I'm a good guy. I'm just kept mental notes. She did it the third time. That fourth time, instead of me saying, hey, baby, can you walk around?
Now you hype.
Well, how do I come at her? Baby! She like, I'm sorry. I didn't even keep tab of the other 4 times. And that's what I think Deshaun Watson, being the good guy he is, was guilty of. Kind of just going at the Texans like, baby, when they were like, dog, my bad. I thought you liked Nick Caserio.